Austin Jones was supposed to be one of YouTube's safest bets. A young, clean-cut musician posting a cappella covers of popular songs with perfect harmonies, family-friendly thumbnails, and a polished image that made him highly marketable. His channel grew rapidly as teenage fans across the world flocked to his content. By the time his channel peaked, he had over 500,000 subscribers. But behind a seemingly wholesome facade, Jones was hiding deeply disturbing private behavior that would eventually cost him his career, his freedom, and any chance at redemption. According to investigators, Jones used his fame as a way to reach out to his most vulnerable fans, underage girls who admired him. In private messages, he manipulated these young followers, encouraging multiple minors to send him explicit videos of themselves. He provided detailed instructions and built emotional leverage by playing off their devotion and admiration for his content. By 2017, multiple victims had come forward, triggering a full-scale federal investigation. Federal agents gathered overwhelming evidence of repeated misconduct, leading to Jones's arrest later that year. The criminal charges filed against him were severe, including multiple counts related to receiving illegal content involving minors. In 2019, Austin Jones pleaded guilty to one count of receiving child exploitation material. During the sentencing hearing, prosecutors highlighted how Jones knowingly abused his platform and status to target vulnerable victims for his own gratification. The court sentenced him to 10 years in federal prison, one of the harshest sentences ever handed down to a YouTuber. Following his conviction, his YouTube career ended completely, and his channel has remained inactive ever since. His case became one of the most infamous cautionary tales about parasocial power dynamics and how online fame can be weaponized when the person behind the screen abuses that trust. But while Austin Jones's crimes were committed behind private screens, the next YouTuber scandal unfolded completely in public, live, in front of thousands of viewers who watched the tragedy unfold in real time. Stas Reeflay was a Russian live streamer who took the growing trend of IRL streams to an extreme that would ultimately cost someone their life. Unlike many YouTubers who carefully edit content, Reeflay thrived on unfiltered live shock value, constantly escalating the level of risk, humiliation, and cruelty on his streams to keep his audience engaged. His audience paid him to push boundaries, often donating to request increasingly dangerous stunts or humiliations. Reeflay willingly obliged, all while thousands watched in real time. But in December 2020, one stream crossed the line from dangerous to deadly. During that livestream, Reeflay had been drinking and arguing with his girlfriend Valentina. At one point, he forcibly locked her out on the balcony in freezing temperatures, wearing only light clothing. Viewers continued to watch as Valentina remained outside for an extended period. Eventually, her body gave in to hypothermia and she lost consciousness. Even as emergency services arrived at Reeflay's apartment to attempt resuscitation, the livestream continued. She was declared deceased on the scene. Russian authorities quickly launched a criminal investigation. Unlike many YouTube scandals that emerge after private wrongdoing is exposed, this tragedy unfolded entirely on camera, making it one of the most publicized livestream scandals in internet history. Reeflay was charged with causing death by negligence. In 2021, a Russian court sentenced him to 5.5 years in penal colony, a sentence many critics felt was light given the severity of the incident. The case became a sobering warning of how far livestream culture can go unchecked when content creators chase viral donations without understanding the real-life consequences unfolding on screen. While Reeflay's audience helplessly watched the tragedy unfold live, the next YouTuber willingly filmed his own illegal activity, but this time in the middle of one of the most notorious real-world crimes in recent American history. Tim Gionnet, widely known online as Baked Alaska, first gained attention as a live streamer and political provocateur. His career began with commentary and internet trolling, but over time, his content drifted deeper into political extremism, public stunts, and increasingly reckless livestream content. But everything escalated dramatically on January 6, 2021, the day of the Capitol riot in Washington, D.C. Many participants who masked their identities, Gionnet actively livestreamed himself storming the Capitol alongside the mob. He filmed himself inside restricted federal property, capturing not only his illegal entry, but also interaction with police officers and other rioters, all broadcast live to his audience. His own livestream would later become central evidence used by federal investigators. Shortly after the riot, Gionnet was arrested and charged with unlawful entry and disorderly conduct inside a restricted federal building. In 2023, Gionnet pleaded guilty to the charges. He was sentenced to 60 days in federal prison, one of the shortest sentences among high-profile Capitol riot defendants, but nonetheless a criminal conviction that permanently damaged his career online. Gionnet's case stood out for how brazenly self-documented it was, proving once again how livestream culture can erase the boundary between content creation and evidence gathering. Baked Alaska's arrest came from publicly broadcasting his own illegal actions, but the next YouTuber's downfall wasn't driven by livestreams or protests. It was fueled by one of the most bizarre hoaxes in YouTube's history. Jason Ethier, better known as Jaystation, made his career by exploiting YouTube's obsession with clickbait. His formula was simple: over-the-top 3 a.m. challenges, fake paranormal encounters, and increasingly absurd stunts designed to game YouTube's algorithm. While many of his stunts were obviously staged, his most infamous controversy pushed things too far. Jaystation faked his girlfriend's death as part of a YouTube stunt. Uploading multiple emotional videos, he claimed she had tragically passed away, all in an attempt to generate sympathy views. The YouTube community quickly exposed the hoax. The backlash was immediate, and YouTube demonetized his channel. Eventually, his entire channel was terminated. Soon after, Ethier's real-world legal problems began. In 2020, police arrested him for assault with a weapon. He was charged with assault-related offenses, briefly jailed, and later released. Though the jail time was minimal, the scandal permanently ended his YouTube career. His arrest served as the final collapse of a creator who built an empire on controversy, but eventually crossed every ethical line. The next creator's downfall came from a completely different world, one involving illegal gambling, multi-million-dollar operations, and federal investigations that spiraled completely out of control. Martin Joseph, better known online as McSkillet, wasn't your typical YouTube drama case. He didn't build his channel on reaction videos, pranks, or shock content. Instead, McSkillet found his niche inside the booming world of CSGO skin trading, an underground economy that turned cosmetic video game items into real-world currency. For years, the CSGO skin economy was largely unregulated. Players would buy, sell, and trade skins worth thousands of dollars, and gambling websites emerged that allowed people to wager their digital items like casino chips. McSkillet wasn't just promoting these sites. He had financial stakes in several of them, turning his YouTube audience into active participants in these betting platforms. The problem was simple. Gambling with skins violated both Valve's terms of service and US gambling laws. Many of the gamblers were minors, which exposed McSkillet and others to serious legal risks involving unlicensed gambling, fraud, and potential money laundering charges. In 2018, Valve shut down many third-party sites, including those McSkillet was associated with. His accounts were banned, lawsuits followed. Behind the scenes, federal investigations were beginning to build a case that could have landed him in serious prison time. But McSkillet's story ended before any formal charges were filed. In August 2018, while under immense legal, financial, and personal pressure, McSkillet drove his McLaren the wrong way down the San Diego freeway at over 100 miles per hour. The resulting head-on collision killed himself, a 43-year-old mother, and her 12-year-old daughter. Police later confirmed that McSkillet was being actively investigated at the time of his death. Had he survived, experts believe he likely would have faced serious federal charges related to his gambling business. While McSkillet's YouTube content wasn't criminal by itself, his promotion and involvement in illegal gambling platforms pushed him into dangerous legal territory, making his story one of the most tragic cautionary tales about influencer greed colliding with federal law. Tana Mongeau may not be known for criminal activity, but her early brush with the law still became part of her chaotic online brand. She built her YouTube career on raw story times, wild parties, and drama-filled vlogs that positioned her as YouTube's queen of controversy. In 2015, early in her career, Tana was arrested in Las Vegas over a string of unpaid traffic tickets and citations. After missing several court appearances, a warrant was issued for her arrest. When she was finally stopped by police, she was taken into custody and booked. Her jail time was brief, just a few hours, but Tana immediately incorporated the experience into her online persona. She joked about it in vlogs, exaggerated the story for interviews, and turned even a minor legal slip-up into more content for her rapidly growing fanbase. Instead of damaging her career, the arrest seemed to fuel her momentum. Tana continued to rise, landing brand deals, hosting gigs, reality shows, and ultimately becoming one of YouTube's most recognizable personalities. While other creators' arrests led to serious legal consequences, for Tana, the brief jail stint simply became another chaotic chapter in her larger-than-life online narrative. Vitaly's legal troubles are among the most extreme in YouTube history, not just because of how often they've happened, but how international they've become. Vitaly built his YouTube empire on one thing: public pranks that pushed every possible boundary. From fake bomb threats to staged police encounters, his content often walked a very thin legal line, and sometimes crossed it entirely. His first major legal trouble came in 2014 when he ran onto the field during Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Miami Heat and San Antonio Spurs. He was arrested on the spot and charged with criminal trespassing. That incident set a pattern. Over the next several years, Vitaly was arrested multiple times for various public stunts, including streaking at major sporting events and climbing public landmarks. But things escalated far more seriously in 2020. In Miami Beach, Vitaly was arrested again, this time for allegedly assaulting a female jogger without provocation. Police reports stated that the victim sustained significant injuries requiring hospitalization. Vitaly was charged with aggravated battery, a serious felony offense. After his arrest, Vitaly was briefly jailed before being released on bail. He later reached a plea deal, though much of the case details remain sealed. While he continued uploading content sporadically after the arrest, his reputation and public image took a massive hit, with many former fans distancing themselves from his increasingly aggressive stunts. But that wasn't the end. In April 2025, Vitaly was arrested again, this time in the Philippines. Reports say he was filming content when he allegedly harassed members of the public. If convicted, he could face up to 24 years in prison under Philippine law. As of today, his trial is still pending. For a creator who started out pulling pranks and viral stunts, Vitaly's legal downfall shows just how far these stunts can spiral out of control when the law gets involved. Stephen Williams, better known as Boogie2988, built a long-running YouTube career around gaming, mental health discussions, and his well-known Francis sketch character. But his legal troubles wouldn't come from content. Instead, they stemmed from a real-world feud that spiraled offline. In 2020, Boogie became entangled in an online feud with fellow YouTuber Frank Hassel, who was known for harassment-style content. The feud escalated when Hassel showed up uninvited at Boogie's home, recording the interaction for content. Feeling threatened, Boogie responded by brandishing a firearm and firing a warning shot into the air while standing on his porch, an act he filmed and later posted online. Police arrested Boogie for aggravated assault and reckless endangerment. While Boogie claimed self-defense, the law took issue with his decision to discharge a firearm in a residential neighborhood. Boogie was ultimately booked and briefly jailed before being released. He eventually accepted a plea deal, resulting in probation, but the incident sparked massive debate online about self-defense laws, harassment, and creator feuds turning dangerously real. While many creators on this list face jail time from intentional crimes or stunts, Boogie's case became a strange and uniquely YouTube version of escalating online beefs turning into real-world danger. Prettyboyfredo, real name Alfredo Villa, rose to fame on YouTube through gaming content, especially NBA 2K, before shifting into vlogs, pranks, and extravagant lifestyle content. But over time, his content leaned further into risky stunts and public challenges that blurred the line between entertainment and illegal behavior. One incident that landed him behind bars involved reckless driving. In 2018, Prettyboyfredo was pulled over after being clocked at dangerously high speeds on a Florida highway. Police discovered his license was invalid, and he was driving without proper registration or insurance. He was arrested on the spot for multiple traffic violations. Although the incident didn't carry felony charges, Prettyboyfredo spent time in jail before being released. For many creators, this kind of legal trouble could derail a career, but Villa spun into the content. He openly discussed the arrest in his vlogs, adding it to his persona of living fast, breaking rules, and always bouncing back. Tayler Holder first rose to fame on TikTok as part of the Hype House, but quickly expanded his online presence to YouTube, where he built a massive audience with lifestyle vlogs, boxing content, and influencer collaborations. As his online fame grew, so did his luxury lifestyle. Expensive cars, viral parties, and an increasingly public image. But his love for fast cars led directly to his first run-in with the law. In 2022, Holder was arrested for illegal street racing in Los Angeles. Police cited him for reckless driving, public endangerment, and multiple traffic violations after participating in an organized street race caught on video. Unlike prank arrests or minor infractions, illegal street racing can carry serious consequences in California, including jail time and heavy fines. Holder was taken into custody, processed, and spent time behind bars before being released on bail. While Holder publicly downplayed the incident, calling it a mistake and learning experience, his arrest highlighted a growing trend among influencers who use high-performance cars as content, often at the expense of public safety. Sam Pepper's YouTube career has been one of the most publicly controversial in the platform's history. Starting as a prank channel, he became infamous for pushing uncomfortable, ethically questionable stunts that quickly attracted backlash. Pepper's early pranks, many of which involved touching or harassing strangers, quickly drew criticism for crossing ethical boundaries. But the most serious controversies began when multiple women came forward accusing him of sexual misconduct, both online and in person. Pepper consistently denied these allegations, but the backlash was intense. Sponsors dropped him, YouTube demonetized his content, and mass petitions circulated calling for his ban from the platform. Although Sam Pepper was never formally charged with any felonies related to the sexual misconduct accusations, he was detained and investigated multiple times by police in both the UK and the US for various complaints involving harassment, trespassing, and public stunts. While Sam Pepper never faced formal felony charges, the public backlash from multiple investigations and allegations led to the collapse of his prank career on YouTube. Though he later re-emerged online focusing on crypto, consulting, and collaborations, his original content remains one of YouTube's most infamous cautionary tales about how quickly boundary-pushing creators can fall. In a platform filled with creators chasing viral fame, Sam Pepper became a prime example of how pushing boundaries for views can permanently damage reputations, even when formal criminal convictions never fully materialize. And that's how YouTube creators cross the line. Sometimes for clout, sometimes for greed, and sometimes for something much darker. The world of online fame moves fast, and as you've seen today, not everyone survives it. Let me know what you want me to cover next in YouTube World in the comments below.